We're going to be continuing our series where I quote-unquote roast my old artwork, go through old live stream content, and I pick apart what I think could be improved. I'm going to be going through this design with this bird boy, who is really my character, Grayson, who I've just kind of rebranded as an owl boy for this stream specifically. Right off the bat, as I'm sketching this one, I notice how technically the way that I've placed the wings is fine, but what I like to do usually is I put in the anatomy of the character first before I put on any kind of clothing or extra accessories or whatever. And right off the bat, looking at this like that, those shoulders are incorrect. That's not how you would draw shoulder blades. I do erase them eventually, like I just kind of get rid of them because I'm like, I'm gonna change the pose, because I think I originally wanted a sitting pose. I was gonna have him sitting, but then I was like, oh wait, no, I need to show off his legs probably. So I switched it to like a standing pose by comparison. I also should really not be using ovals for the thighs. When I first sketch them in. Really, you shouldn't be using ovals for any sort of the limb because it creates like the pillowing effect. It isn't as bad here, mostly just because the legs are very bird-like, so bird legs don't have the same exact muscles that we do, so it'll create less of a pillowing effect for birds. But regardless, I probably shouldn't be using ovals at that section either. I should have also made these wings bigger. They're a bit small. And the anatomy of the one that's folded, the right wing, that's very incorrect. The top of the wing should not be that high up. Because again, I'm breaking my own rule that I set out, because how I remember envisioning it was like, oh, it's just kind of folding in like it's on the side. If it was that high up, then think of it as if you're raising your arm to be like an L shape. Like that's what that pose would be like. It's almost as if you're waving, right? And I know that that's not what I was going for. So really all I've done is I've made the forearm like twice the length of the bicep, which is like, that's not correct. But yeah, the shape of these wings definitely could have been improved more. They're a bit thin for an owl. Probably should have been thickened up a bit more, made a bit heftier width-wise. Grayson himself isn't too bad. I think that the side view isn't the worst. The nose is a bit off, but that's fine. The anatomy is a bit incorrect, but it's changed. The way that I go about drawing a profile view regardless has changed a bit. In this stream, I don't really know why I decided to go with really clean line work. I guess with this one, I estimated that it wouldn't take me as long, so I decided to go with the stronger, bolder line work by comparison. The thing with this strong, bold line work and working with feathers is that it works to its disadvantage, actually, because usually feathers look a little bit nicer when they're a bit rougher. That's a personal opinion. I think that the feathers tend to look a little bit nicer when they're like slightly less cleanly handled. I think that it looks a little bit nicer when they're rougher and the lines are a bit messier by comparison to super clinicals. So like, I think that working with this hard line work worked against me in this piece for sure. I probably should have worked rougher.
If you'd like to support the channel and the creation of free arts education, become a member on Patreon.
You can tell as the stream has gone on, I'm a very impatient artist. I'm not the type of artist who can sit around and do repetitive details over and over. It's why I can never be an animator. So you can tell, like, once we get to coloring the owl wings, I started to get really impatient and just go like, man, I don't want to color this in. I'm just gonna like do some squibbles here and like hope that it works. If I wasn't as impatient, if I was actually sitting down and going like, okay, I need to make this like perfect, then I probably would have done that. But with here, I was like, nah, I'm gonna be lazy. I have the comic artist's mindset. I'm gonna shortcut this like crazy. Every artist is going to hate some of their work, no matter what, but what's important is that you don't get stuck on being perfect. You need to get the bad art out so that you can make good art later. Critique is super important for artistic growth and is a big part of our teaching method here at Wing Canvas, so don't be afraid to ask for second opinions. Join a virtual class to learn live from our professional artists. Get creative assignments, individual guidance, and real-time feedback on your artwork. Start today and level up your practice. If you learned something new, like and share this with a fellow art nerd. If you love receiving quality and free arts education, subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, here's a couple other videos you can check out next.